All right, so let's get right into it. There was this blog post, Building Effective Agents, that really cut through the noise. It shared some super practical, in-the-trenches lessons about what AI agents are, and maybe more importantly, what they're not. So today, we're going to unpack the three big ideas from that post and see how they actually work in the real world.
Here's the plan. We're going to start with a quick look at how we even got here, the whole evolution of these systems. Then, we'll hit the three big rules for building them, knowing when to build one, why you need to keep it simple, and how to get inside its head. After that, we'll see it all in action with a case study, and then wrap up by looking at what's coming next.
Okay, so first up, how did we get to this point? I mean, it feels like AI capabilities have just been exploding, moving way past the stuff that seemed like pure magic just a couple of years ago.
If you rewind a bit, AI was mostly about these single-shot tasks, right? Things like summarizing an article or classifying an email. Simple and clean. Then, we got a little fancier and started chaining model calls together into these rigid workflows to do more complex jobs. But the future, and what we're really here to talk about, is all about autonomous agents. And this is the key difference right here. A workflow is basically a robot on a fixed track. It does exactly what you tell it, step by step. But an agent gets to decide its own path. It looks at its environment, gets feedback, and figures out the next move all by itself. That autonomy, that's the game changer. But, with all this power comes the temptation to just throw agents at every single problem you can find. And that leads us to our first and honestly most critical rule. You do not need an agent for everything.
Here's the bottom line. Agents aren't some magic upgrade for every piece of software. They are a very specific tool for a very specific kind of job, taking on tasks that are messy, ambiguous, and really, really valuable. They thrive where a simple script or flowchart would just completely fall apart.
So, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's so easy to get excited and reach for the shiniest new toy, but that's a fast track to wasting a ton of time and money. The good news is, there's a pretty straightforward way to figure this out. Just run through this 4-point check. First, complexity. I mean, if you can map out the logic on a whiteboard, just code it. It's going to be cheaper, faster, and way more reliable. Second, value. Agents can chew through a lot of tokens trying to figure things out, so the prize at the end has to be worth it. Third, capabilities. Can the model you're using actually do the core tasks reliably? And finally, what's the cost of an error? If a mistake is catastrophic and hard to catch, maybe you don't want a fully autonomous system running the show just yet.
Okay, so let's say you've got the perfect use case. It's complex, it's valuable, it's agent time. Now what? Well, that brings us to rule 2, and it's a big one. Keep your architecture simple.
I absolutely love this quote because it just cuts through all the hype, An agent isn't some mystical black box. It's just a language model, a set of tools you give it, and a loop. The model thinks, picks a tool, uses it, sees what happens, and then thinks again. That's really it. And that whole process boils down to these 3 core parts. You've got the environment, that's the sandbox the agent is playing in. You've got the tools, those are the specific actions it's allowed to take, like searching the web or sending an email. And you've got the system prompt, that's its instruction manual, its mission briefing, its whole personality, all rolled into one.
And here's why that simplicity matters so much. Adding a bunch of complexity early on just slows you down. Seriously, 90% of your improvements are going to come from tweaking the prompt, making your tools better, or just giving the agent clear feedback. Get that stuff right first. You can worry about fancy optimizations like caching way down the road.
All right, on to our third and final rule. This one's a little different. It's less about engineering and more about psychology. To debug an agent to really make it great, you have to learn to think like it. This is where so many developers get stuck. We get frustrated when an agent does something dumb because we're looking at the problem with our big human brains. We have all this context, intuition, and memory of what happened 5 steps ago. The agent has none of that. It's looking at the world through a tiny keyhole, its context window. It takes things literally and has zero memory beyond what's written right in front of it in the prompt. So the next time your agent messes up, you have to force yourself to ask this question. Forget what you know. Look only at the exact text the agent saw at that exact moment. Was the information it needed actually there? Was it crystal clear? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize the answer is no. And here are 2 super practical tricks to get better at this. First, literally role play. Try to do the task yourself using only the information the agent sees. It's an incredibly eye-opening exercise. And second, this is a cool one. Use another AI model to critique your own setup.
feed it your prompt and your tool descriptions, and just ask it, hey, what's confusing about this?
Okay, enough theory. Let's see what this looks like when the rubber meets the road. We're going to look at a company called TechAdRise.ai, which is all about building these custom agents for small businesses.
And what's cool is that their whole business model is basically a perfect example of these 3 rules in action. For Rule 1, they only go after high-value complex problems like qualifying sales leads. For Rule 2, they deliver these simple, totally done-for-you agents so the business owner doesn't have to worry about the tech. And for Rule 3, they build deeply integrated systems so the agent has all the clear, specific context it needs to do its job well.
And we're not talking about some abstract concepts here. These are real workhorse agents. Things like an AI receptionist that can answer calls 24/7, agents that can vet new leads before a human ever talks to them, and agents that can tie together a company's CRM, calendars, and internal documents.
So what's the actual impact? Does this stuff really work? Well, this is where it gets exciting. Because they're focused on real business problems, they see real results. For some of their clients, we're talking about lead conversion rates jumping by over 30%. Just stop and think about that. A third more business walking in the door because every single person who calls or emails gets an instant, intelligent response. And it's not just about growing revenue. It's about getting back the one thing you can never buy more of: time. By automating all those repetitive administrative tasks, scheduling, follow-ups, data entry, these agents can save a business owner more than 15 hours a week. That's nearly 2 full workdays. 2 days they get back to spend on strategy, on customers, on the human stuff that actually moves the needle. I mean, that just shows you the power of applying these principles. But the story's not over. This field is moving incredibly fast. So let's wrap up by looking at the big open questions and recapping the main takeaways. We're still trying to solve some really hard problems. Like, how do you give an agent a budget so it doesn't accidentally spend a fortune chasing a solution? Could we build agents that actually learn to improve their own tools over time? And the really big one, how do you get a whole team of specialized agents to work together without tripping over each other? These are the next big frontiers.
So to bring this all home for you, the takeaways are simple. 1, don't use an agent for everything. 2, when you do, keep it simple. And 3, always try to see the world from its limited point of view. And that leaves you with one final question to think about. When you look at your own work, your own business, what's that one complex, high-value task that's just waiting to be automated?
Visit our website at techadrise.ai